Hello, everybody. Welcome to part 6 of my overview of ADD/ADHD. This is Diva like Edwina. I'm the Anastasia, your host, and this is my Inner Diva segment. Okay, when I left off in part 5, we were talking about hunters and farmers and what the heck that has to do with ADD and ADHD. In this book, Tom Hartman's Complete Guide to ADHD, Help for Your Family at Home, School, and Work, discusses uh, personality traits or what you see in ADHD people as opposed to quote unquote normal people. And basically, this is what Tom Hartman describes as a hunter, which would be the person with the ADHD. They can totally throw themselves into a hunt. Time is elastic. A characteristic of a good hunter is the ability to totally focus on the moment, utterly abandoning all consideration of any other time or place. When the hunter sees the prey, he gives chase through gully or ravine, over fields or through trees, giving no thought to the events of the day before, not considering the future, simply living totally in that pure moment and immersing himself in it. So basically, so that's what an ADD, ADHD, uh, that falls in under the, you kind of get lost, uh, time management. You're always late because you lose track of the time and stuff like that. That ability works well if you're hunting game for food. Does not work well when you have to function in the modern world. Number 2, they are flexible, capable of changing strategy on a moment's notice. If a boar vanishes into the brush or a rabbit appears, the hunter is off in a new direction. Orderliness is not particularly important to a hunter, but the ability to make a quick decision and act on it is vital. All right, so this kind of goes into the impulsive thing. And again, having the ability to kind of switch up and change and just kind of do stuff without thinking about it works when like again you're chasing the wild boar, the deer, or you're fishing in the middle of the ocean and you got that big old swordfish or whatever and you run some different happens and you got to switch up and think about it. It works for that, but it doesn't work. It doesn't translate well for other things. Like, you have to have your paperwork done, and you can't get it done because you switched off and went off and did something else. So yeah, aha. Then it goes into they can throw, and we're still talking about hunters. They can throw an incredible burst of energy into the hunt, so much so that they often injure themselves or exceed normal capabilities without realizing it later. Not unlike that quintessential of all hunters, the lion. They have incredible bursts of energy, but not necessarily a lot of staying power. Giving them the choice of describing themselves as the tortoise or the hare, a hunter will always say that he or she is the hare. So, yeah, we do that. But again, it works well in the hunter scenario, but not so well everywhere else. They think visually. Now, being able to think visually actually does work in the hunt and in the modern world. Um, and it works because the modern world has become more and more visual. So thinking in terms of pictures rather than thinking in terms of words actually does translate well into the modern world. Like I said, given the fact that the modern world has become more visual. Okay, and then it says they love the hunt but are easily bored by mundane tasks such as having to clean fish, dress meat, or in the modern world, fill out paperwork. Who wants to do paperwork? Yeah. So, uh, yeah. So we'll go on to the next one. I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. Okay, and then it says they will face danger that normal individuals would avoid. A wounded bear, a wounded boar, I should say, or elephant or bear can kill you, and many hunter has been killed by his would-be prey. If you extend this analogy to warfare, where hunters are often the front-line infantry or the most aggressive officers, the same is true. Hunters take risks. Extending this metaphor, Patton was a hunter, and I have to say that yeah, we do have a tendency to do that because we are uh, risk takers, and I have to say for myself personally that I am a risk taker, and sometimes yeah, I have just to give an example, there was a situation that came up uh, between myself and a student on my full-time job as a bus driver. And the student was older and a lot bigger than the other kids on the bus. And I'm going to check my time here real quick. And he got mad at one of the kids on the bus and threatened to beat him up and do some stuff. And I said, no, you're not going to do anything like that. And he decided that he was going to challenge that. And I'm going to kick so-and-so. I can do whatever I want to on this bus. And look, you know. I said, okay. So I had to pull the bus over. I'm a risk taker, not that much of one. So I pulled the bus over, safely secured the bus so I could deal with this child. And I told him, you will not do anything of the sort on this bus. And he insisted that he could do whatever he wanted on the bus. And I forgot myself. And I told that child, I said, if you touch the least one of these babies on this bus, you will not like what I do to you. And I said it before I had even thought about it. And he just kind of looked at me, and I said, so if it's like that, then bring it on. And so so yeah, I do have this tendency. Yeah, I do. I do face danger, quote unquote normal people wouldn't face. A prepubescent boy that, was almost my size, and yeah, I was ready to take him on. Okay. So, but I was defending small children. It wasn't, a street brawl or anything like that. But I didn't appreciate the fact that he was, because he was much bigger and he was the oldest child on the bus, so he had no business doing that. Okay, so getting back to hunter people, it says that hunters, they are hard on themselves and those around them. When your life depends on split-second decisions, your frustration, impatience threshold necessarily tend to be low. A fellow hunter who does not get out of the way of a shot, or a soldier who defies orders and smokes on a dark night, showing the enemy your position, cannot be tolerated. So, yeah, um, I do have a tendency to, I would say I'm more hard on myself than I am on other people. Um, I do show my tough side when it does come down to, like I said, with the situation on the bus where younger the younger children were being threatened with bodily harm. Um, so yeah, I would not tolerate somebody that uh, would threaten a child. You know, whether it's an older child or an adult. I would not tolerate that. So yeah, in that sense, I would be hard on the other person. Uh, but I have to say, in all honesty, I'm harder on myself than anybody. So that's the hunter people, which I am seems to be like a member of. And then it talks about farmers, what farmers are like. And let me check my time again. Okay, I got 3 minutes, so I'm going to do this quickly. It says that a farmer is not easily distracted by his or her environment. And it uses the analogy of planting a crop. It takes time to do that, and you have to be able to focus and be patient because it's menial, not menial work, but it's very meticulous, I guess. That's the word. I'm not sure which one I'm looking at. So if you're the hunter person like me and you're easily distracted, the seeds aren't going to get planted and you're not going to grow any food and you're going to starve. Whereas the farmer is will focus on what they got to do and complete the task. Farmers sustain a slow and steady effort, and that's quite opposite of what a hunter is. Hunting is an ebb and flow thing, and it requires you at some point you got to kind of sit and watch it, and then when you got to get in and get the prey, you got to hurry up and you got to leap in and use that burst of energy to do whatever it is. So that is definitely opposite of what a farmer. Uh, uh, they're more consistent. It says farmers see the long range picture and stick to it. So unlike the hunter is looking at toward the next moment. The farmer looks uh, at the next day, week, month, year, or years, or decade. They plan ahead. Farmers are not easily bored, and it says that they pace themselves uh, because they're able to pace themselves. And that's something that us hunter people have a hard time with doing. Look at my time real here. Farmers are team players, and farmers, they tend to work together when they need to harvest or seed or till the land or whatever. They tend to get together and they work together, and hunters do work on their own. That's how come we get into problems we get into because we by ourselves and we need to be in a group and not isolate ourselves. All right, so we are quite different there, and I'm getting real short here on time, so I'm going to do the last two. It says 3. Farmers attend to details, farmers are cautious, and farmers are patient with others. So that's the difference between the hunter farmer people based on this book here by Tom Hartman. All right, so this is getting long, so I'm going to stop here. When I come back, we're going to talk about nutrition. Ha.